was it?
Michael says test.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. My name is Michael. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome again. It's another day, another stream as we continue on teaching ourselves computer science and programming. We are going to be having some fun today. We might potentially play some games later tonight. Um, yeah, we'll see how. I'll just keep streaming until I get tired and whatnot. Maybe we'll do some leak code later. It's Friday. We're feeling good. Just a little bit sleepy, to be honest, but after a week's work. But I'm ready to get this show on the road. Appreciate you guys for being here and hanging out with me so far. Welcome in. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, let's get this going. All right. Let's see. Where we at? My main, but my web scraper is
Tim says
different.
bro ain't playing no games.
All right. We're back. All right. Um, tired today, everybody. Gotta wake up. Alright, let's get cooking here, right? Alright, so this is where we left off on last time, where we can get compounds. Our data backend's not loaded. Alright. There we go. Alright. So our app is running. We can generate curves, which is really nice. I love that. Love that. Alright, this looks really good so far. Alright, so what do we want to do today? What's our goal?
Did you make a lot of progress?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Look, were you here yesterday? Welcome back in, my friend. It's good to hear from you. Were you here yesterday? Yesterday we did a lot. Man, I can't stop yawning here. Wake up. Alright, so we made some progress yesterday with our... Dude, we might have to do leak code today. I don't know if I have the energy to build. Oh my gosh, I can't. My eyes are just so heavy right now. I got some food before this, and it's going into food coma. Should we like watch some videos and hang out, have like a chill hangout sesh, and then build later? I don't know, man. We kind of deserve like a break session. I'm just kind of pooped. My gosh. Holy crap. Alright. Okay, let's wake up. Wake up. Okay, so what do we want to do today? We gotta at least do something, right? Gotta at least do something. So what do we want to get done? Okay, so right off the bat, we need to plot our front end. Okay, so let's do this.
Max says, you feeling better from that cold?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm still a little bit tired and groggy today, but we had to make it work. We gotta make it work. Gotta keep grinding away here. A little congested. Okay, so what do we want to exactly accomplish? Okay, I'm a little bit lost here. So I want to, on my front end, I want to put right now in our compounds, we're tracking in our absorption data. Sorry, no, we're tracking wavelengths, and we don't need to track wavelengths per compound. And why am I don't need this either. Because I'm already calculating it.
Eduardo says 1-0 Pacers.
1-0 Pacers. People have been really vibing with the Pacers lately. What's up with everybody giving Pacer love? Tim is pounding the air. Tim, are you a Pacer guy too? Okay, so generating Gaussian light distance concentration. Okay. So let's delete Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to delete the compound dict. What do we want to delete? We don't need to carry over the sigma, concentration, or light distance. Or light distance to our front end. We already did the calculation. Right, we don't need to carry that over. And then let's go here before we delete the wavelengths. I'm gonna grab them. And I'm gonna go onto our AbsorbSim plot here. And for X data, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna throw in this. So right, a list of all the X data. Okay, that's fine. So then I'm going to also delete.
Mohan says hi.
How's it going, dude? How is it going? Delete. Just quote wavelengths, right? Okay, so we're going to delete all of those. Okay, so let's see if that works. Aspirin, search.
Mohan says great. How about you?
Key error sigma. Oh, this is on the web scraper. Oh, whoops, hold on. So we return compass. So here in our main function. Here. We're going to delete the sigma, concentration, light distance, and wavelengths after we compute its Gaussian distribution. And then we save that. So now let's try this. Got it, okay. Okay, so now we got aspirin, name, CID, description reference, solvent, epsilon max, good, and then the absorption spectral data, good, and then the generated Y values. Now if we generate the plot, good, it's still working. So now if we go caffeine, generate, good, it's still working. Aha! Okay, now we have, we were able to truncate our data So the constant values of the wavelengths is now being hosted on the front end, rather, so we're not transmitting that on via our cache or on our lookups, right? Or via our cache, right? Okay. So, which is really nice. So I guess we are also repeating data here. Technically, we have that information housed here. We just need to know which one it is, right? So I could truncate this down maybe one further to just an index of this, or a reference of this specific, yeah, like the index reference of the max, right? Oh, that's a dictionary. Okay, we'll have to maybe come back to that. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's push that up. That is a good push point for me. We're saying move wavelengths const to the to the front end. Move. Okay. Nice. All right. Okay, so I think it's done. I think for the most part, like the absorb sim page is done. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you guys have any improvements that we should make or suggestions? Let me know. But for the general purposes of the absorb sim page, that was kind of all I had planned, really. um, yeah, we styled it yesterday. Everything looks really nice. Let's check like responsiveness, I guess. Make sure that still works. Inspect here. We'll go to iPhone 14, mine. Right, simulator. Let's go home. Simulators. I can't click on simulators. What's going on?
Borisir says, do you ever need to compare two against each other?
Not really. I mean, you can, I guess, but I never really planned on that. Oh, why can I click on stuff here and move it on my page? Oh, there we go. We can click on the about and the home, but not simulators. Huh. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on caching incomplete compound, so let's go here. So in our main program, I'm seeing compound name. So if we get a value error, no VUV this data found, something on my web scraper, this is where it's getting hit. So this else statement applies to this if, so if there's no match, but it had a successful search. So if I say test error compound not found / invalid. Okay, so then if I get this value error, but this is a value error too. I don't want to catch all value errors. Let's say this is going to be a instead. Let's make this a key error. Right? There was no compound that had that key. The CID. Because this is the key error. So we're going to keep it consistent and raise the key error. So in our main, if we say except for, this will become a key error. And then we'll split these up. We'll say except for a value error, right, as E. And then we'll also say here, except for a key error as E. Okay, so then we'll raise this 404. It's not a 404 not found. Different error status codes. Bad request, unauthorized, forbidden, not found, method not allowed. So maybe we'll make this a 405 request on this one, saying that the method isn't allowed for the value error because, and then this is an error because it's just not found. It doesn't really matter, but whatever. So we'll raise the value error, but what we'll do, okay, so this is what we do. We create a we get a name, we lower it, we open the compound cache as file, we get content, if compound, try to get ICID, Okay, then let's take our key error. Let's bring this up here where this try is taking place. This is where the key error is being hit at, right? So if you don't get this exception, you then try to get the data you get the data. So getting the data, what that function does, get data here, a value error if there's no description, but we handle it silently. Get description. So given the data, we return a description. In the form of a dictionary. Description and disgraph. Okay, so then what we're doing is we extract out common description, disgraph out of there. And if there is one, it's null. So we get the compound description, except for a value error. No description found. Okay, we hard code it. Equals this. Compound description is going to equal. So if this get description function returns if description else, actually, so we'll just return the description no matter what, right, in this format, and if these both be null, then they're both null, so be it. So then what we'll do in our here, this will return a dictionary no matter what, and then we can just set the individual things, right, and then return compound dict here. Nice. Okay, so then in main I'm calling the get the CID, and then I'm getting data. The get data via CID returns the compound dict. How's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we're going to return the compound dict, and then which contains at this point. Okay, so then we, given the compound dict, we run the absorption. which houses the data string in the script. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so then if we go here, let's bring this back. Let's bring all this stuff back. Okay, so then we create a compound. Off of this compound, we'll go here and say try here, and then we'll push this in and we'll say except here. So now we set this value error, but then what we're gonna do, if you get a value error here, we're gonna raise the exception. Get compound. Okay, so right here, this is what we're going to do. Before we raise this exception, we're going to say valid comp, no UV, no UV, no absorb data is equal to, it's a crazy name, but it's the best way I can try to explain it. It's a valid compound, but it has no absorption data associated with it. We're going to set this equal to the current compound dict equal to a dictionary, right? Where we have so wait, we go here. Okay, so this is going to be the compound dict. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to print valid comp, no, it's the ABS data. So if I go here and go methylene blue, search. Okay, I got.
Princess Ashley 99 says you making a game?
No, we're making a SpectroSim. It's this project over here. Absorption spectroscopy simulator. Okay, so that printed out a ton of stuff, which because we're gonna have all of this stuff here. We're gonna just take these. Right, we want to take these all right away. No, but these have.
Mark Holland number 039 says, how long have you been programming for? You're making great progress.
1 year. 1 year, my friend. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. Okay, so here we're getting.
Princess Ashley 99 says you must be so smart, OMG.
I don't know. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I work as a formulation chemist since I was 23. Hey, how's it going, Coach? Welcome in. 22, 23. I'm a scientist too.
Ashley 99 says, how old are you?
26.
Mohan says, Mike, how to support you.
How to support me? What? Okay, so we need to say, so right, if you get this, what we're going to do is you're going to delete.
Princess Ashley 99 says, so can I call you DR?
No, I don't know. I have a doctorate. No.
Coach
So we'll
says,
see.
almost finished with my portfolio website, first real React
Delete
project.
compound dict. Oh, coach, yeah, show us some screenshots, dude. Delete compound dict.
Princess Ashley 99 says, where you from? Mark Holland number 039 says, is it true that you need a master's degree to work as a scientist? Mohan says, I wanna support you juice by watching haha.
No, I don't have a master's, and I'm a scientist. I kind of got lucky that way, I guess. I think it's starting to become more and more that way. But in my opinion, I think a master's in biology is. I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. Okay, hold on. So let's think. Compound dict. So our web scraper on the extract absent vectro is if we fail. Right, it gets else raise this error.
Code says, did you purchase any course for Python? Coach says, are you trying to switch careers or just personal projects?
Maybe a little both, coach.
Princess Ashley 99 says, how did you get so smart?
Y'all gassing me up. I just code every single day. I don't know. I've never really had a lot of like friends. I don't know. It's not like it's my own choice. It's not like I'm like a weirdo or anything. I guess or strange or it's my own choice. I kind of just like to sit in my room, and I've always been that way. And I just like reading books and learning, doing math, science-based stuff. From a young age, I remember from a young age, I just remember teaching myself like Photoshop and video editing and, um, different types, maybe like graphics and stuff. And so that helped me learn like some like software stuff, at least kind of understanding how some software stuff kind of. Yes, there's some back end on here. We got a back end here. Oh.
Coach says, so time to lock myself in a dark room until I get a phone offer then? Mohan says, Mike called me a stranger.
Okay, so let's see here. We're trying to. So what I'm gonna do is.
Princess Ashley 99 says, all the free time you got.
I don't have any free time. I work a 9 to 5 job as a chemist, and then I code for about 3 hours every day after work, streaming it live. And I do that every single day, 7 days a week. Well, not 7 days a week, 5 days a week, and then I code 7 days a week though.
Task says, but what if people call you a psycho? How do you deal with that?
Well, then it is what it is. I don't really care what people think. Okay. Or else I wouldn't be streaming here.
Princess Ashley 99 says that is crazy.
So we're going to take this delete compound data string, and we're also going to apply this if we hit on the value error. Raise.
Mark Holland number 039 says, you look like Chris Cornell. Coach says, I can barely get myself to focus for 3 hours without a full-time job. Man, you humble me, Mike Romeo.
Let's say. So I want to delete the compound data. Okay, so no, then we'll go like this. So Okay, if we get the value error back,
Princess Ashley 99 says I'ma learn so much.
if we get the value error back, we'll delete out of this compound dict the compound data, right? And then let's print this compound data string, sorry. So now if we run this for methyl blue, which is in the system but no data. Okay, now do I get the print? Okay. Backend. Search. Okay, so this is what it's printing. Methyl blue, CID description.
Number 039 SS. Is this Django?
Now this is a React and Tailwind with Fast API.
Tim says
Okay, so we're getting our compound dictionary back. Do I want to keep all of this information, right? Because there's no reference in the description. Methyl blue description is all of this, so it doesn't have. Okay, I got you. So we'll say, what I'll do here is now what we'll do is we'll say this. Okay, so now that we so is there a, let's look up no, this is name methylene blue. Methylene blue. So then maybe I
Tim
see.
says does Brave browser have built-in ad block? Nut says ye.
Okay, so sorry, I'm just thinking about how I want to do this. I don't want to get too deep here and then have to go back, pause. But I want to set this up right.
Duardo says yet.
Okay, so let's set this right.
Tim says I'm deleting Chrome.
Let's set this right.
Marcall number 039 says, did you buy any course on Python? Any prior programming knowledge? Nut says.
No, I haven't paid a single dime on anything, and I think that is the right way to go about it. You don't need to pay for anything to learn how to program. Everything out there is for free on the internet, and everything should be there. I took Harvard CS50P, the free version, taught myself over last summer 2024, read Python crash course, and then started this channel and started streaming every single day and just building projects, reading data structures and algorithms in Python, fluent Python, machine learning in Python I've started, and doing leak code problems, just building projects. We completed Harvard CS50X, and now we're taking Khan Academy's Calculus 1 course as well. So we got a lot going on here, but I'm trying to just get down with this project, and we're getting towards the end here, so I'm trying to get this one done.
0.02 GB left in space on my laptop.
Okay. So the thing is then we're saving the file here. So I'm going to have to say return.
Duardo says okay, so you need do this. Code says do you have Joe firing?
Take this with open the compact caches file, and we're going to just take this part. because the raise is not going to let us move forward. Okay, so we need to write this file, right? But I want to write.
Code says, do you have girlfriend?
Yeah, I got a lady friend. I've had one since we've been together since college. So we're also going to delete compound dict where are you? Here. CID and description. CID description, and we're also going to delete the description ref. Right? And then we're going to write this into our content that we opened or either created as new with the component name.lower. And then we're going to set that equal to null, or none in this case. And then we're going to write that. Okay. So we're going to write that as there. So now if we open the content cache file and we get the name found compound, if found compound, we're going to return the compound, else we're going to yeah. If found compound, we're going to do.
Orthello says bros wearing carded indoors.
We're going to say. So if we have a found compound, we're going to get via name. So I set it to none. So that writes it to none. Now, so I say if.
Do you date her during compile time or in the comments section?
If found compound. So I don't want to say else because then I'll hit here. So if found compound, this is getting the value of the name. So, but I'm setting to none. So maybe I'll have like just be 0.
Codeverse, are you okay?
So if I say if found compound, right? If
Yes,
instance.
This is a programming channel.
Found compound of type dict. Then we're gonna come here and return this. If
I know. Orthello says think Maya broke the heart of a fridge and got himself a hater.
If found compound equals to 0, we're going to return, or we're going to the thing is though, is this is annoying me because thing is we're returning a value error. Okay, and we're saying, okay, raise, if you try to get it, delete it all. Okay, so if it's, okay, so that's if it's not found originally. Now, if you do find it though, so if you do find it and the compound does equal to 0, we're going to we need to raise this same HTTP exception with the detail with that string, but we're not, that string is what we're getting passed back from, right? So we'll just say test. Okay, so now let's try this out. Okay, so now if I say test here, I should get that original error, compound invalid. Got you. Now if I say methylene blue, or hold on, my compound cache here. Okay, so let's watch this. Search. No UV vis data found. Okay, and there it is as 0. Perfect. Gotcha. So then we just need to, okay, so now, just to make sure we're not doing this part here, right? So now we have methylene 0 written in our compound as 0, which got hit right here. So next time we search up methylene 0, it's going to get hit here and throw up this test. So if I refresh and do methylene 0 blue, test, perfect. Okay, so we'll say error.
Tim says Mike makes SpectroSim live in ready to try it out.
It's almost ready. It's almost ready. So it'll be this guy here. Error. Ooh, what happened? We'll just say content.get name. Oh, hold on. So I'll say lower name. Oh no, we'll say name. Title. Okay, so then error no UV for methylene blue. Perfect. So now if I type in test, search, now this is giving me this weird blue thing, so why do I have a quote right there? Web scraper. Error, compound data found. Invalid. Except for a key error, raise key error. Okay, then we're catching the key error. here. I think it's because we're... why is this doing that all of a sudden? Why is it putting little quotes here? Well, it's printing E, so why does my E statement have quotes around it? Then let me just raise the value, except for here, raise a value error. Then let me say, except for a value error here, as E print. Huh, so a key error puts it in quotes. Interesting. Because that was the only thing I changed. Okay, so now let's try this out. Let's delete our cache. And let's try this out. Okay, so if we start this over, refresh, let's say, okay, let's look up aspirin, search. Okay, we got aspirin. Open up the cache, there's aspirin. It's got all of its information, and then good. Now if we type in, let's type in sodium, search. Error, no UV vis data found for sodium, but sodium goes in here with a 0 as its value. So then I mean, rather than saving as 0, we could save a null value and then just specify, where are you? Rather than saving as 0, we could specify it as null or none, and then instead of getting this, say first, if found compound, well, first we'll say if content, right? Because if there's content, then we don't even want to go find it, right? So if content, then we'll go ahead maybe not. So if found compound in content, right, then we're going to go get the value found compound data if name in content found compound data if name in content, then we're going to go ahead and get that out. Right? We'll say if not found compound data. We're going to do this here, right? Else, if you have found compound data, you're going to return found compound data name found compound data. And then that's it. As such, let's try that out. Okay, let's go refresh. Let's add aspirin, search, success. Alright, aspirin's in there with all of its information, and we're good. Okay, let's move out. Now let's type in test, which should bring back the error and not log anything. Okay, not found / invalid. Perfect. Now let's type in methylene blue. This should give us the other error of no UV vis data. Error, no UV vis data, methylene blue, null. Perfect. So now, so that set it to null. So that went down here, opened it, and then dumped it, and then raised this. So that's where it got caught. Now, if we get it one more time, I'm going to put test here to make sure it's this one, right? Now, if we get it one more time, there we go. Now we're getting hit by this error. Yes! We have it linked up correctly now. All right, cool. So what we did there was, it might have seemed kind of confusing, like, why are we doing this? But it will be very beneficial to our program or our project as a whole, just in terms of being able to manage our memory and our backend more efficiently. So currently what we're doing is there are compounds on PubChem API that are successful to be searched by their name, but do not have successful parsing for UV data. Some compounds do not have that experiment done to them. For instance, methylene blue or sodium or things like that. So, or at least that specific, extraction that we are looking for.
So inspirational.
Right? At least that extraction that we're looking for. So what I am doing here is I am differentiating between, right? Before I was just mash logging those two errors together as, compounds that do exist but don't have data, and just any sort of word in the English dictionary, such as like bananas, right? That's not a compound, that's not a successful search, but methylene blue is, but it doesn't have UV data, but they were getting the same errors. So now what I did is I separated those errors out to have unsuccessful search, like invalid, and then just no UV vis data for a valid compound. And what that does, now you might see, now why are we doing that? Why does that really matter? Well, to manage our backend more efficiently by using a cache, basically by having caching lookups that were successful versus unsuccessful, we can then reduce the amount of delay or API queries that we're using on PubChem and speed up our serving of our data faster to our users, if there are any. So now we're not having to, before I was having to even query the API for null compounds that do exist but don't have UV data. I was also querying the API for just any word such as bananas. Now, there's nothing I can really do to get past that, right? I could, I'm not going to validate it against a bunch of compound names before I then go search the API. That just seems kind of, you got to pick and choose your battles. So we will have to query the API no matter what on that initial name. But, if it was a successful search for a compound within PubChem, we don't need to ever query it again, because we're going to extract out the next necessary information if it's there, and if it's not, we'll describe it as null. So that when we come back and access this, so if a user comes back and says, okay, and I want to look at what methylene blue was again, I forgot, and types it in, oh, well, it'll go into this cache and pull it from here, and then detect that it's null and throw this error, rather than going and searching the API, detecting that it's not, parsing it, detecting that it's none, and then sending that back. No. It's just bypassing that, checking the cache, boom, it's not, and then it's gone. Now, what we can do with the cache to make sure this doesn't get like too infinitely big for the millions of compounds that PubChem contains and houses is we can run some time to delete scripts, or like highest least frequently searched, or there's all sorts of these different acronyms that we were researching about last night to kind of decipher which are how can we can clear out basically, or polish or clean up, so we can apply an additional tracking threshold, right, to this data. We could apply a searches log and increase that count every time that this query is searched for this compound. And so if we ended up having a cache for a compound of 100 searches, well, that's a pretty hot compound. That's a lot of searches for that one compound. So we'll keep that in the cache. But if after every month we go and look at our cache and there's a couple of compounds that only been searched once or twice, then we probably can be safe to clear those out and just have the API be re-requested and rewrite those into data if whoever wants them again. Because the likelihood of those being searched is, not none, but just smaller than our most frequently searched, queries. So now I'm not going to really worry about that right now, because it's not like super pressing for like the actual getting this project out onto the web and working. Now I want to just get this out, and then we can worry about managing and cleaning up the system by just pushing up some scripts onto the live repo to just manage and clear it out every maybe month or so, which I think will be cool. What do you guys think about that? Any ideas along those lines? So now we're getting methylene blue here, and if I do like one for sodium, right, there it goes, there it was written. And now if I search it again, it won't really be much of a difference because it didn't change at all. So if I search sodium here, now that it refreshed, it won't have much of a difference because this is just on the local. This isn't transmitting anything from servers. So, but it'll essentially be a lot faster because it didn't have to query. And now that was a lot faster. Now, if you saw that, it did have a little bit of, more speed to it, even on my local end. So if I delete this, I'll show you guys. So right, if I do a refresh this, kind of count it. Look at the response. So if I type sodium and press search, ready? Boom. Okay, there it comes. So it was kind of like a half a second delay there before it returned that error. But if I refresh, now that I have sodium in my cache, watch how much faster this is. It's almost instant. Boom. It read that instantly off the cache. So we turned a half second delay in receiving this error into basically an instantaneous return. So it's working nicely. You can actually visually see it. Like I'll do it for methylene blue. Watch this. So if I press search, let me refresh so you don't get the error. Methylene blue, watch, it'll take about half a second. Boom, there it goes. Now if I refresh and search it again, watch how fast it goes. Boom. Ooh. Cashing up. Stacking our bread. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and push that up. New feature added. We're adding features like crazy here. Features on features, boys. Feature.
Margo says, as a security research, I recommend you be careful with injection in this input field.
Yeah, I mean, they have to just parse it. They have to search a compound name. So I'm handling the web scraper via just this request API. So if it's not found within this return, right? If it's not found within return, it's not. Then it's not going to be returned back to us and hit a value error. So it has to be within this as this exact value being given. So in a title case format. Notice we're getting the compound data off this response. So if you don't get a response back, then the PubChem API, I'm sure they have some things on their API to block against that. That wouldn't be on my end, I don't think. Because I'm accessing their database. That's not up to me. I don't think. Okay, so now let's make sure this works for like salicylic. Boom. Success. There it goes. There it goes. Woo! Nice. Feels good, boys. Feels good. All right, let's push this up. Get status. Nice. Let's go git add, git commit. We'll say add caching of comps on API without UV viz data as null objects values. Okay. Push that up. Features. All right. What else? That was kind of one of my last. Now, I guess like we can write the part about, you know, the clearing of the cache, but all right, let's do it. Why not? Cache clear .py. Okay, let's go import JSON with open compound, or let's go over here. Let's take this basically. So we're going to try with open, except file not found, content. So except file not found, we don't even really need to do anything. I'm just gonna return. You don't need to clear a cache that's not found. Okay, so let's say, now that we have this open as file, we're gonna load content into the file. From file, okay, so we have content, which is gonna be, so let's print content here, just to see what it looks like. Oh, is this passing as file not found? Oh, it might be, because it's in the same directory. Maybe not. Am I trolling? With open compound cache as file. Ah, okay. We're not even opening the file. So why are we opening this file? Compound cache.json. Ugh, I always suck at this. Why can I never get the... I copy the path and I throw that in there. cache module, expecting value in like 3 column 1. Oh. So if it's null. Because this is giving me a null, I think because it's null. So it's a file path still. Come on. SpectroSim. There. Come on. Cache, compound cache. In the compound cache.json. Oh, I'm so dumb. What am I doing? You guys just let me do this? You didn't say anything? Seriously, y'all? What? Why can I never import files correctly? The files are in the same dir but not reading. We go back end cache, compound cache, SpectroSim. Oh my god. Why does this always happen? Now if I run the... There we go. God, finally. Okay. So print this, I get a dictionary of dictionaries. That's kind of cool. dictionary, sodium, for compound. Okay, I also want to say this. In content print compound. Okay. Nice. Okay, so now we're gonna say, give me every compound here. If compound is none, going to print compound. And none of them are none. So if I say if compound.get, it's none. So this is a dictionary where we have keys with the value of that key, with the value of the key, with the value of another dictionary. So this is saying for compound. For key value, okay, so we'll say this. For compound name and compound data and content dot items, if compound data is none, we're going to delete content index of compound name. Okay, so this is going to clears out all none pounds with none with no UV viz data. Okay, so now let's run this. Rather than doing this, let's print the compound name. Sodium and methylene blue, perfect. So then we'll bring this back. That'll delete those. We need to gather them all. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to gather and then delete, but okay, so I have to say to be deleted is equal to an array guess we'll make this a set actually, because these should be unique. Right, then we'll say if compound data was no, we'll say to be deleted dot add compound name, and then we're gonna say for compound name in to be deleted, we're going to go to content dot delete content compound name. Alright, now we should have sodium, and that sodium methylene blue should be gone. No. Oh, we need to write content, my bad. So we need to go try with open in write mode. As file.
Myrtle says you didn't write the file.
Yep. JSON.dumps. Is it dumps or dump? Dump content. If it's not there, except file not found. So I don't want to, except file not found, we're going to open it and dump it. So the with will handle that, I think. So if I go, send on dump content. Write the content back. Yeah, I could have just copied that. Okay, so now let's try it here. So we got our compound cache with sodium and methylene blue. Those are going to be removed here. Boom. Oh, my bad. Oh, this should be done. I think it's because we're trying to write nuns. Let's say print to be deleted. Right here. Load file content. Oh. What happened? Oh, there it goes. Okay. I guess I deleted the file on accident, the content. Okay, cool. We got it. All right, I'll bring it back. Okay, here we go. Ready? And then boom. Okay, it deleted those two, and they are gone. Nice.
think you should add a check if file is empty or not.
Right, so what if I let's say except what was that error? JSON decoder error. I'll break it up. Footprint. Cache clear unsuccessful. Error, cache not found, cache clear unsuccessful. So JSON decoding error will print.
Myrtle says before JSON load, check if not file return.
Yeah. Print. Error. Error. We'll catch you and say error. Successful. And then we were going to return. How does it go again? If name equals underscore is equal to underscore main, return main? How does that go again? I forgot. If name is equal to main, equals a quote, man. My bad. It's close. It's close. It's been a while since I wrote that. We're gonna return. Here. Underscore names me. We're gonna run cache clear. So we're gonna return none. We're gonna also return none. I'm gonna return. This is right. Content. I'm gonna make this cache. Okay. Cool. So we got that. What we could do is we could do this for every, like, let's say like 1,000 searches. So we could keep an overarching tracker of total searches, and then that could be how we clear this out. Rather than doing it by a time-based thing, we wait until we accumulate 1,000 searches or 500 searches, then that triggers this function to be called on our main program in our backend endpoint. I think that's what we're going to do. What do you guys think? You guys like that idea? Keep track of total searches, and then we'll clear cache based on that. And then we can also clear, we can add in additional parameters to this loop, and then add in those names to this set to delete.
Here's what I found.
No. What do you guys think about that? If you guys are here, appreciate if you guys would subscribe and like the stream. Subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps to motivate and keep pushing along. I stream every single day, me teaching myself how to code Python, full stack, React, Tailwind, chemistry-related projects.
Number of searches do not reach threshold. Instead, people search other 121 M compounds.
Yeah. Don't think that that's going to happen, though. Maybe in like a super odd niche, less than a trillionth of a percent. Worst case scenario, O of n to the power of infinity. Right, so I mean, even if they have a
Some rare compound once searched is never gonna be searched again. It'll stay in cache.
well, yeah, we would add in additional parameters here to remove not just null compounds, but also tracking in searches, right? Or we could basically, we could clear the cache after every 1,000 searches to, in general. We could just wipe the cache, which is also another option. Just a full wipe after 1,000 searches, or we track individual search parameters and add it into this loop here in addition with if compound is none, and also elif compound is compound data or compound data index of search count is less than or equal to 1, right? Right, so it would be really easy to implement here. We would just have to add it into our tracking, basically as we create these compounds.
Riddle says general 1000 search might work.
A general 1000 search. Yeah. It would be nice though to retain information if possible, but there's just so many compounds and maybe it's not even worth it, right? It might be so random. Okay, let's say then.
Riddle says add one more parameter, no if searches.
Yeah. So if we go into main here and we add in on a search parameter, we go to content, right, and we add into it.
Riddle says retain the top 50 most searched ones and clear the rest.
Yeah. Well, that would require us to sort. I don't think we want to sort. We'd have to implement a sorting algorithm to retain the top 50. We could do a binary sort, or we could do a not a binary sort. Binary sort. We could do a well, the Python sort just runs an n log n, so it's not too bad. We'd be sorting 1,000 compounds though, which isn't too crazy of a sort, but so I say we just delete below a certain threshold.
One more parameter, no if searches, then whenever we clear, we can filter the cache and delete the rest.
Yeah. Okay, so we can implement this here. Right now we're clearing out all the unnecessary information, cleaning it up here within our writing and our main function. And then we're saving the compound dict here. So if I add on to compound dict, well then, that's interesting though, because do we need a track number of searches then for null compounds? Right, those are going to get cleared every single time, but what if we're frequently searching for like someone, what if we get like a lot of people are searching for like sodium, which is a very common compound over and over and over again? It'll just constantly be added as one of the 1,000 spots in the cache over and over and over again. And if that takes place, then let it, I mean, so be it, right? Like, let it happen if it's supposed to happen. Just let it be. You know, it'll only take up one spot, and if it's going to take up one spot no matter what, then it's going to take up one spot out of the 1,000. if it's frequently searched that many times. Right. Hmm. So I wonder. I'm also wondering. I'm getting a lot of ideas. Like I'm wondering if we shouldn't clear the cache during the call here, because then the user has to wait for the cache to clear before they get their response. Should I instead set like a global flag to then switch on as true for needing to clear the cache, and then after I return the value, the script will keep going in the background and clear the cache, but I'd already served the information? No, but as soon as I return, this script ends, right? Like if I hit this raise or I hit this return, I can't continually write content to take place because I returned. I broke out of this entire, you know.
Michael says, hate to interrupt and leave, but I've got to do something urgent and my phone's about to die.
Later, dude. I appreciate your input today.
Possible. See you soon.
It was fun learning with you today, man. Thanks for coming in. I like talking with you. Well, we're thinking about stuff too much, so let's go like this. Let's add on a parameter here. Update the search count. Right? So we're going to go here and say that the compound dict index of searches or search count dot get either get the value or get 0 and then we'll take this search compound is equal to the value plus 1. Can I do this? They're close to a small mistake aging to get. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm stupid. You do the compound dict dot get.
Says looking particularly fried today, Michael. Keep it up, buddy.
Looking fried today? Bruh. Ouch. Brutal. Oh, brutal. Tough luck, man. Okay. So update the search count. Okay, so now let's go ahead, delete this. Run here, search. Okay. Now this has a search count. Okay, perfect. So now if I just keep searching this, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 times, that should be 5 now. What? Oh. A search count. Right, so if I give a search count, we increase count here, so let's go here. I'm gonna copy this, and we're gonna also have to put this
Maximilian says MMM. Mooch says how can this be?
How can what be? Okay, so we're gonna say we're setting equal to none. Don't want to update, no, there. Or update here. Compound dict. So this isn't going to be compound dict though. This is going to be name.k. Return found data. Found comp data. So now if I search. No. Oh, it's not writing. It's just opening it, updating and not writing. So if I take this as well, like probably, I'm gonna refactor this down into like functions and stuff. It's pretty messy right now. Right here, and then I write this onto it, and then I return. There we go. Now we're getting an updated count. 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I delete this, I search up, I refresh, salicylic acid search, my cache opens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're getting a search count. Okay, so then I'll say for compound name, data, and cache, if compound data is none, add to and say or compound data index of search count less than less than 3 searches, less than 1 search. If it's, no, we'll say 3 searches, less than or equal to 3 searches. Then we're going to add it to the delete. So let's go ahead and test this out. Let's add aspirin, search. Let's add methylene blue, search. Let's add caffeine, and let's do this one 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is what we got now. Cool. So this has a search. This is salicylic, search count of 5. Aspirin, search count of 1. Methyl blue, null. Caffeine, search count of 4. So methylene blue should go away, and so should aspirin. But salicylic acid and caffeine should stay. Ready? Run. Boom. Ooh, it deleted everything but aspirin. Oh, greater than or equal to 3. My bad. Alright, let's go here. Delete. Retry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Methylene blue. Search. 1. Sodium. Search. And aspirin. Interesting. Caffeine. Oh, interesting. So aspirin, 2 different spellings.
Mooch says, is this using some large open source data set of compounds that you downloaded locally?
Now we're fetching with API and caching responses, so even better. Haha. Okay, so now caffeine should stay, methylene blue, sodium, and aspirin go. So the only thing that's left should be caffeine. Ready? Clear cache. Yep. Hey, let's go. Okay, so this is what we're going to do then. We're going to say in our main function, I'll open up a file. I'm going to call this search count.py. It's literally just going to be, or no, we'll do this. Delete. My main, I'm going to go here. Now I need a file. Should I do a CSV rather? Or should I just save it as a variable? Like a global variable? I don't know how I'm going to do that actually. I have to think about that. So I was thinking, like, how are we going to actually keep track of the search counts and then automatically trigger at the 1,000 mark to run the script? So we just need to somehow track the search counts globally, and then right here in our program to detect the search counts on a successful search and then run the clear, right? But at least for that, well, let's go ahead and go like this. We can clear function functionality.
Lava 4 Patrol says, are you just doing projects ATM or trying to transition to tech?
I don't know, a little of both. So in order to make that transition, I have to have some projects to showcase and at least bridge that gap. So I think that's what we're doing here is to get a cool, pretty actually applicable real world project here. And a very clean, very nice UI, a lot of features, JavaScript, Python, backend integration, Tailwind, CSS, and React to kind of get our foot in the door. We have to clear past the recruiter, or else we have no shot. And even with people with CS degrees aren't clearing past the recruiter. So we're gonna be shooting ourselves in the foot trying to do this, but it'll be hard. But hopefully we can maybe get a shot. It's gonna honestly come down to getting past the recruiter. I think I'll do pretty good in like interviews. I'll obviously have to study like leak code and stuff, and I don't know, they might be cruel and like ask some self-taught guy some like system design question or deep level CS major question and really wreck me if they want to just be cruel and really don't like me or whatnot. That's up to them really, but like and maybe that just means that we're not ready, and that's okay too. That's just, if we don't know those types of answers, then, maybe we need to be honest with ourselves and say, hey, we need to keep studying and keep learning. We're not there yet. We can code, we can build cool stuff, but do we actually know a lot of the deeper level understanding and stuff? Not as well as maybe some CS majors, but I guess we can code better than some CS majors. So it's like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Make sure it's still working here. Yeah, good. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and merge in our main here with our dev with main.
Mooch says, W mindset.
Nice. Yeah, so honestly, like what I really think is going to be the hardest part is just getting past the recruiter that doesn't really know much about tech and it's just and programming, and it's just looking for bullet points on a resume. And they might not even be willing to give us a shot if we don't have literally quote CS major like on there. So that might be like our bottleneck. And then I guess as well, like, we might get some like pretty grueling questions in the interview that we don't know, like about system design or deeper level programming languages or whatnot. Like, I can give you examples about real world experience and turning, ideas and projects into actual like business cases. I've done that at my current work. I've pitched, bioinformatics cases to develop tools. Like I put that on my resume. So I'm currently developing a tool with the bioinformatics team. I've kind of transitioned into a bioinformatics programmer and formulation chemist as one in my current job. Like I've kind of whittled my way in there. And so like, yeah.
Says GL on your journey, man.
Nice, dude.
Finishing my network engineering degree next year and really trying to dial in on Python.
That's awesome.
Automation.
That's awesome, Patrol. Yeah, I stream Python every day, so come stop in here and learn with me. You don't have to be directly looking or focusing on what I'm doing here, but just by having the stream in the background, holding yourself accountable to study, if to reach your goals, we can do that together. So use this platform as just a reminder, an accountability tracker. You be competitive with me. Like, competition is good. Like if I'm streaming and learning, then I'm see that's I kind of read this as like, oh, if I'm not learning and streaming, then someone out there is, and they're gonna get that job. I try not to be competitive like that, but there are competitive like feelings that you can use to like fuel yourself. Now you don't want to drive it to where you're being cruel or mean or like a bad person, but you can use those feelings to motivate yourself and then obviously tamper back. Nice, dude. Back to back. Appreciate you for coming in again. It's awesome to see you and hear from you. You're awesome, dude. All right, you guys. So we did a lot of work today. We wrote a lot of code, actually. Like, we wrote a lot of code today for working on this project. It's going good so far. So what we were able to do today is actually link together our caching with. So what we did was we linked our front end. So the first thing we did was we put our x-axes that are static and never change, our x-axis data points, the wavelengths, and we went ahead and threw that on the front end, and so we're no longer transmitting that via the server. So that's just one more package of data that we don't have to transmit and send over, which is really nice. And then we also differentiated between error codes between unsuccessful searches for compounds that don't even exist in PubChem versus unsuccessful searches that do exist in PubChem but don't have UV data. So right, if we do like oranges, which isn't a compound, we get I guess oranges is a compound. No way. What? Oh, it's in there. As an alias of this. Dude, that was such like a facepalm moment. Right, so you get like, so test isn't a compound, or apples maybe. Right, apples isn't a compound. So then if you type in, though, a compound that is in there but doesn't have UV data, you get this message: no UV vis data for methylene blue. Right, and then what happens is that methylene blue becomes cached, right, just like oranges was, because I guess it is on PubChem. So now we're caching in these searches for things that are on PubChem, so we don't have to ask PubChem again. And then we wrote this function, this cache clear, to actually open up the file, detect a couple of errors and return none if you get those, and then gather a collection of compounds to be deleted if they don't meet some certain criteria, such as if their compound data is none, so such as for methylene blue, or for oranges, as there was no UV data for them, but they are in PubChem, so these will be cleared, and for compounds that have less than a search count less than 3, or less than or equal to 3, will be cleared out. So if I did aspirin here, and I search this compound, and I search it one more time, right? You can see that I have caffeine has 4, null, null, and then aspirin has 2. So if I run my cache clear, boom, go here, you can see that caffeine is the only thing left in here with a search count of 4. So this is clearing our cache, which is nice. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining me here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me.
Cache clear on like a weekly cycle or something?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we were discussing with up above with Mr. Meriddle. He was giving us some great ideas. We were just kind of bouncing ideas back and forth off each other regarding for how we want to maybe do this cache clearing. So what I was thinking about doing was that we could have an overarching tracker of, let's say, like 1,000 searches. So let's say we reach a threshold of 1,000 searches just on the site in general, then we go ahead and run the cache clear. Or we have maybe we'll make it 500. Or we could set it to a date time function that, detects what time, a total time elapsed between the last clear, and if it reaches like 30 days, then we go ahead and run the clear, right? So we could do it by a time base with date time, and by tracking, timestamps via when last cleared, or we could, do it based on a search count. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys would think is best. So let's go to SpectroSim. repositories, SpectroSim, backend, cache, clear.
Mooch says I guess it depends on how bad it is to have a large full cache.
Yeah, right. So maybe we'll have to play it by ear and write that in a little bit later, determining how much traffic we get on the site. And now it's not going to be like crazy or anything. It's definitely not going to be like we're on Facebook or nothing. But it's just for fun to get some practice with these kind of concepts of system design and managing your a system and being able to have it under theoretical load. And just prepping that knowledge beforehand before we actually see it live in the real world. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for being here and hanging out with me tonight. We got 26 people on the YouTube, so I really appreciate you guys being here and jumping in. Thank you truly for jumping in here and hanging out with me. Please like the stream if you could, and subscribe if you're new.
A cool thing to implement for sure.
Yeah. Like the stream if you could. I'll be back tomorrow, so don't worry. I might be in a different setup. I'm going to head over to my girlfriend's tomorrow. Like, sometimes I head over there and I code on my laptop just on stream, just in a different setup. So I might be just doing a laptop session tomorrow or I might, depending on if I get up early enough for a morning session to be able to come in. I do 24-hour stream. I can't tonight, boys. I've got some plans tomorrow. I'm gonna go to a little bit of a local city festival music thing that's going around, like local bands playing, and it'll be fun. I'm just gonna hang out with my lady friend, and but I'll be doing a session tomorrow. I want to do a morning session and continue on with our calculus. So, but I know I'm lazy, dude. I'm not lazy. I say I'm lazy, but I code every day. I like to sleep in on Saturdays. You guys sue me, shoot me. I'm sorry. I like to sleep in, so but I want to do a morning session so I can get a lot of my East Coast friends in here, and because when I stream later, right now we have 30 people in here. When I stream later in the evening, I've got a lot of international folks that come in here that are on complete opposite ends of the earth. So it's kind of nuts. I want to do a morning session for you guys to work on the Khan Academy calculus and more of that stuff, because we need to keep going on that. Let me pull that up real quick. Right, so I mean, if we kept going, we'd be done with Unit 1 by now. That's frustrating, Mike. It's really frustrating.
Patrol says gotta go touch grass on the weekends.
It's really frustrating, Mike. This is why I get frustrated myself when I procrastinate, because if I just kept going and did a box a day, or even 2 boxes a day, I could have been almost done with Unit 1 by now. Because I missed the last week and a half by working on the project. Because my goal, what I would like to do is after every unit, I would like to write a Python script to actually kind of reflect and kind of put into practice some of the concepts or calculus concepts we learned in that unit into Python. So with Unit 1 here, we might make a limit. I know I make a lot of simulators, but we might make a limit simulator, just where you can put in various values and create a graph to mimic certain limits, or maybe a limit solver, or some kind of fun little interactive thing with limits themselves after we finish Unit 1 here. I want to use Python to solidify the learning and be my calculator and everything. So I got to keep going with this. It's just I like building the projects. Come on, Mike. Got to keep going. What other courses do you guys suggest I take? If you guys are looking, what content do you guys want to see on the channel? If you guys aren't in the Discord, make sure you guys join the Discord link down below in the description, or on the profile of my Twitch, where you can get access to all of my resources, notes, books I've read, everything. Yeah, so I want to start. I wanted to start with Calculus 1. I have this theory that, and I've seen a lot of other very, I I've seen some higher level, some very, very higher level computer science, like professors and kind of accredited people, like post on some of their forums and whatnot, or like on LinkedIn or whatnot. They say like they truly think that there's going to be a lot of value in the future for programmers that know math and can integrate math into programming. With especially with AI kind of taking over the more maybe like the front end aspects of programming and those may be more monotonous types of tasks, but the math and being able to do complex things and then use AI to create even more complex things, I think would be super valuable. And from every form I've read on someone that's interested in computer science, that's weary about doing it, the number one thing they've asked in my like 95%, now this isn't, I don't have any data on this, but like in my opinion, like it was like 95% of the time, every comment that was like, oh, I want to do CS, but I'm scared of this, I'm scared of blank. And you know what the blank was? I'm scared of calculus. I'm scared of the calculus class. I'm scared of the math. I want to do computer science, but I'm scared of the math. I don't want to do the math. Blah, blah, blah. So I've often found success in doing the things that nobody wants to do, whether that be in the stock market, buying stocks that people are scared to buy, or things like that. You gotta the stock market is things that you gotta make moves when people are fearful, and be you gotta be greedy when there's fear, and be fearful when people are greedy. And so I've kind of taken that approach with the calculus and math aspects. I think that if the large majority of people are shying away from it, I'm going to be the one that's going to gain some really good knowledge in it and practice in it, and try to apply that into programming where I can. So yes, my goal is to go from calculus 1 through 2 to 3 to discrete mathematics, linear algebra, and beyond. I really would like to just keep going. I'm going to take this year, 2025 and 2026, to really grind and learn math independently. So if you're interested in doing that with me, then please subscribe here and we'll do it together. But anyways, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and staying here. But I will be back tomorrow for another coding session where we'll continue on. We'll do some calculus tomorrow, I promise. We'll also do some LeetCode tomorrow, I promise. I haven't been doing LeetCode as much lately because I've been building my SpectroSim project, which is coming along really nicely. Just a quick review. We are able to go to our AbsorbSim page, type in compound names, search for them, and then get a generation of a compound. And then we're parsing and receiving back information via its description, a number up from the database, the compound name, the lambda max, and the epsilon max, and then you can generate an AbsorbSim off of that. And you can see that epsilon and lambda max correlate to that tall peak here, which is really cool. All right, you guys. Good night. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please sub, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. This has been a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun learning with you guys. And, I kind of, I'm not moving as fast as maybe I was at the beginning, just because I'm kind of starting to actually put these tools and concepts into play and build things, which is slowing it down. But a lot of the times, from what I've heard, this is the practice that actually matters, is being able to actually practice the code and get actual real working examples with the problems that you're trying to solve, rather than just like reading them off of a book and then just practicing, practice problems. But so I'm trying to keep to that mindset that this is the real meat and potatoes of the learning and what's valuable, and then the education is just to help boost this part as well. So thank you guys truly for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, guys.